Mr. Salve Magas wanted to make some
Yes, I'm here, my lord.
Mr. Just give us moments so we can.
Of course. And my lord, as promised, I'm using an iPad.
Oh, that's nice.
You have promised 20 minutes also.
Yes, yes. I don't promise I'll fill those 20 minutes, but 20 minutes.
Now, just to have an idea of how you're all going to be dividing your submission, uh, Mr. Salve will go first, and then Mr. Paul, then Mr. Jethani, Mr. Manager.
Supplement.
Just couple of. Only give me a few minutes to supplement. No, that's no difficulty. Whoever wants to argue for a minute or two, we'll hear you. So we'll hear Mr. Salve. Now, just to have an idea of what you're going to be urging, Mr. Salve, you are opposing the reference, or what do you say?
Yes, my lord. My lord, in fact, I'm opening by telling you my submission is that the issues when they were framed, we had mentioned this, but the issues which have now and the events which have now transpired are such that there is no need for this reference. And in fact, the reference would be contrary to the writ petitions themselves. That's what I propose to point out. I open by saying, my lord, we heard yesterday impassioned plea by Mr. Sibal saying how the defection law has failed to curtail defection. And my lord, yes, of course, ultimately no law can completely fill in the gap left by morality. So that's where we are. If Mr. Sibal said the speakers have failed to rise to the occasion, my lord, I don't think there can be any cavil about that, the kind of cases which have come. But also, my lord, equally, this we should always remember this was an anti-defection law, not an anti-dissent law. The challenge and the criticism include right from the late Mr. Palkewala, who was one of the great votary of political morality. Always the criticism of such law also used to be that this becomes an anti-dissent law. And that is what this is being converted to today. If I give your lordships 5 or 6 dates, your lordship will see that none of these petitions survive unless your lordships, and that is not really even for a bench of 5, unless your lordships come to the startling conclusion that under 142, applications pending before a speaker can be transferred to this court and tried. And that's one of the prayers in one of the writ petitions. Or an even more startling conclusion saying the moment there is a disqualification petition filed, the candidate stands disqualified until he is requalified by rejection of the dissent petition, by the defection petition. But those are not matters, my lord, which 5 of your lordships will refer to 7. What your lordship is today concerned is with the Nabi Mirabia problem. I will not take any time reading that judgment beyond saying that there was a serious problem in that case. There is a strong argument that you should not hold speakers to be in suspended animation merely because a removal is pending. But Justice Misra particularly, my lord, brings out the counterpoint. Suffice it to...
Justice Mishra brings out their voice.
The counterpoint.
The counterpoint.
Yes. And I'm only saying this for the reason these are delicate constitutional issues which should be resolved in a fit case where the question arises. Does the question arise in this case? And the answer is a resounding no. And let me tell my lord why. It is, my lord, in our counter affidavit, if your lordship turns to page 494 of volume 1, convenience compilation. What exactly happened and what has happened and where are we today? The only petition in which Nabi Rabia today is a live issue is a petition settled by Mr. Kamath, who perhaps realizing the folly of his ways was argued that Nabim Rabia should be reversed. It's a petition by a group of people against whom the Shinde faction has filed defection petitions. They have come to your lordship saying, because of Nabim Rabia, because we have applied for removal of the current speaker, do not allow him to continue. Now, if they say the judgment is wrong, all they need to do is withdraw their petition. Look at that, Malad, for a minute. Because I think that's what is important to know. In such a delicate constitutional issue, your lordships are embarking on a journey which has no destination. Page 494, Malad, we give the dates.
Of 494 of?
Of compilation 1, volume 1. Malad, PDF page 494. 497, sorry. I hope I've got my PDF pages right.
It's a common reply of the scholar.
It says convenience compilation volume 1.
It starts on the clock as common.
Factual matrix. Correct. That's that.
Matrix मिल गया?
Have your lordships been able to find that?
Convenience compilation one.
Where it says factual matrix.
Well, the first sentence in that is in a sub paragraph 7 saying on 21st June 22.
Chief, it is. Yes, Mr. Saleh.
Whose counter is this?
This is Malad from our side.
Right.
21st June 22. It starts by saying it came to the knowledge of the answering respondent. Answering respondent here is the current chief minister, Mr. Shinde, and other members of the Shiv Sena Legislative Party. They have used SSLP, the acronym for that. That a minority faction, only 24 out of 55 MLAs, attended an unauthorized meeting, passed a resolution to remove the answering respondent as leader and appointing Ajay Chaudhary as the group leader. And Malad, next para it says on 21st June, 34 MLAs of the SSLP passed a resolution reaffirming that the answering respondent was appointed as a group leader, etc. The resolution was clearly stated that appointment of Ajay Chaudhary is illegal. Now, Malad, this is all the wrestling going on with the appointment of the leader of the party. This is all happening on 21st June. Para 10 says on 21st June, 34 members of the Maharashtra Legislative Assembly issued notice under Rule 11 of 179 to Mr. Narhari Zerwal for the motion for removal of the Deputy Speaker. Now, Malad, this motion was never carried to fruition. In fact, he continues even today as Deputy Speaker. 24th June 22 is the next event, Malad, small 11. Answering respondent came to know that Secretary Maharashtra Legislative Secretariat communicated that a request made by the petitioner to recognize Ajay Chaudhary has been recognized by the Deputy Speaker. So, Malad, the other faction's person is recognized as the Deputy Speaker. Then, Malad, 22nd June, Sunil Prabhu, claiming to be group leader, issued notice. Malad, there were cross notices to each other. Your lordship may drop down to page 501 PDF, para 14. in a meeting held on 22nd June of the Shiv Sena, which was held by 14 out of 55 MLAs, held at Varsha Bungalow, it was resolved that those members who did not attend the meeting should be disqualified. Now, my lord, the submissions before your lordships have proceeded on the footing that there is a disqualification petition by which all the MLAs will go. What your lordship had not told was only 16 petitions were actually filed. So that's the number in count. Then, my lord, small 15. Accordingly, on 23rd June, Mr. Sunil Prabhu filed a petition under Rule 6 of the defection rules against the answering respondents and a few MLAs for not attending the meeting on 22nd. Now, my lord, please see the next paragraph 16 at 502. And this is why petitions were filed in this court. Forget the Navim Rabia point. Answering respondent along with few other MLAs received summons on 25th June by Principal Secretary for disqualification, etc., whereby the respondent and others were directed to file a reply to disqualification petition on or before 27 June. Now, my lord, this is even against the rules. You have to give a minimum time. The speaker was rushing ahead. Then, my lord, on 26th July, should be 26th June actually, the answering respondent and other MLAs filed. Therefore, my lord, this was the original petition filed. And in this, my lord, para 18 says on 27 June, this court said we extend time till 11th July. Now, this court did not say that the speaker shall be in suspended animation. By extending the time to file a reply and by compelling these people to file a reply, the court has in fact allowed the speaker to function. Now, we were therefore given time up to by the court till 11th of July. In the meanwhile, my lord, on 28th of June, the Maharashtra asked Mr. Uddhav Thackeray, the chief minister
काय तर स्वप्न पाहिले
in
पाहिजे,
office,
स्वप्न
to
थंडी
prove
चांगली
his floor
पडलेली.
majority. And on 30th June, my lord, a session is convened on which Mr. Thackeray is to prove his majority. On 29th June, Mr. Sunil Prabhu moves your lordships asking for a stay of this session. The court declines it. When the court declined to stay the 30th June meeting, Mr. Thackeray resigns.
So there were two. The actual scenario was this. By our order of 27th of June, we had
Yes.
extended time until the 12th of July to
11th of July.
responses,
Sorry, 11th July.
the disqualification notice.
Yes.
But in the meantime, as a result of the direction of the governor, the floor test was to be held on
Yes,
30th. In other words, the floor test would take place without the speaker applying his mind to the disqualification.
Correct. Correct. They came to your lordships and said, stay this meeting.
Right.
Your lordship said no. Now, the legality of that meeting is no longer an issue because Mr. Thackeray resigns.
Yes, ma'am.
So there was no meeting on 30th June. So, my lord, the question of the defected or the challenged 16 MLAs voting on 13th June did not arise because there was nothing on 30th June. Mr. Thackeray walked away. So even that question of law doesn't arise. And on that date, I want to give your lordship admitted figures. There are 288 MLAs. The BJP and the independents who support it are 115. With the
115.
Congress and the
115.
1-5.
115.
All right.
So the balance 173 is the what used to be the Maharashtra Vikas Aghadi. Give or take one or two here or there. Gap of approximately 58. And there are 16 disqualifications. So it was not because of the disqualification pending petitions which tilted the result either way. And Mr. Thackeray saw that and walked away.
So the disqualification was sought against 16 totally.
Yeah, yes. Those are the petitions pending. That's the figure I've not been given.
So these, according to you, wouldn't have made a difference even if their votes were to be excluded.
Even if there was a meeting in which they had voted.
Just factually, 27th June, 22 more were sought to be disqualified. Just
27th.
7th of June, 22 more were sought to be disqualified by the petitioners. Just so that the facts are before you.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't want to
I
interrupt.
accept my friends.
Any disqualification
Notice was
notices were
given of that?
Yes, yes.
1 minute. Any disqualification notice you had given?
Yes.
No,
No notice was given. Please take a.
Petition was filed. Petition was filed. That's all right. The petition was filed for 22.
This was only the initial notice.
my lord, may I?
I'm
So
just
let's
stating the facts.
the facts are clear. Our writ petition related to 16. For the balance 22 petitions may have been lodged, but the speaker took no action. On 27th June. This is when Mr. Thackeray is still chief minister. Now, in a scenario like this, if the chief minister resigns and there is no trust vote, what would have happened on the trust vote? Would these people have changed their mind in view of the pendency of the petition and supported the chief minister? Would they not have supported the chief minister? All those questions don't arise because there was no trust vote.
For their petitions to be really live petitions, that they should have faced the trust vote.
Yes. Then some questions may have arisen
Voted
about
out of
what
office
happened.
on the trust vote. And
Yes.
then you would know who are the actual people who voted
Exactly.
in favor of the trust vote and who was sought to be disqualified.
That's right. None of that ever happened. Now, my lord, 30th June, let me, and my lord, one thing is clear, by now Nabim Rabi has all become academic. Those 16 disqualifications petitions are still pending. On 30th June, the current incumbent, Mr. Shinde, gives a report to the speaker showing majority. The governor directs a floor test on 4th of July.
On what happened on 30th June?
My lord, the current incumbent goes and moves the governor. He's made chief minister. And on 30th June, my lord, the governor says, prove your majority within 4 days. Now, my lord, in the meanwhile, there was no speaker. Your lordship knows all this rumpus is about the deputy speaker acting. So on 2nd of July,
Shinde,
the election of the speaker is filled on 3rd of July.
election, notice, election of
End of July, the notice for the election.
Now the speaker is fixed for 3rd of July. Your lordship gets these facts in para 26.
Second notice was third election.
Now there are two whips. My lord, one is Mr. Prabhu, who's acting on the Thackeray faction. He says he issues a whip saying vote for Mr. Rajan Sarvi. And he issues a whip to vote against the confidence motion on 4th of July. In the meanwhile, my lord, Ajay Chaudhary, and this is important, para 28. He is the Thackeray faction appointed leader, issues a letter to the deputy speaker